we covered on this show what's been going on over at Comcast, and it's not just Comcast. All the big cable companies do this, but Comcast in particular, they wanted to impose data caps. Now, keep in mind, at the start of this pandemic, they lifted data caps, and guess what, folks? The sky did not fall. The internet was just fine. We all did what we needed to do. We went to work, quote unquote, digitally went to work. We digitally went to school. We used the internet for everything because guess what? It's a utility in our life. And that's the case even when there's not a pandemic, and the world was fine. What did that prove to us once and for all? Well, that proved that these data caps are just price gouging bullshit. There's no reason for them. When the big cable companies go, oh, well, traffic occurs and it just bottlenecks and we have to have these caps. That's bullshit. That's complete bullshit. Data caps are not necessary. Sure, like there's internet traffic. Totally. That's real. But we don't need data caps. It's a bunch of bullshit. So all these cable companies lifted data caps at the beginning of the pandemic, all while simultaneously patting themselves on the back. Comcast recently decided they're going to bring data caps back in basically all the states they could get away with doing so. Simultaneously, Chase Roper, who we had on this show, blew the whistle on what Comcast was doing to customers, how they were promising customers speeds that they were not really delivering on, how they were selling these packages that they were branding as we're helping out low-income people, when in reality they were selling them packages that were nowhere near what people would need. It wasn't enough for people to go to school. It wasn't enough for people to even stream an episode on Netflix. And when people would call and say, hey, we got this deal, and it's still, my kids still can't go to school. My kid's not able, like it freezes every day. Comcast would say, we got your back. Give us more money. That's what was happening. So that's all been going on. And well, simultaneously, Comcast decided, hey, we're bringing data caps back because we can get away with it, because we're hoping that the public just kind of forgot about that time when we all lifted the data caps. Well, guess what? The public didn't forget. Comcast felt a little bit of heat, and here's some good news, although we're not out of the woods yet. Comcast reluctantly drops data cap enforcement in 12 states for the rest of 2021. So Comcast is delaying a plan to enforce its data cap and overage fees in the Northeast U.S. Now, their big argument is that, oh, most people don't even come close to the limit. No, most people don't even come close. But I'm sure you're just you're putting it in there because you need to. I'm sure you don't think that people will go over it so you can charge them more. So here's where the delay applies. It applies to Connecticut, Delaware, Massachusetts, Maryland, Maine, New Hampshire, New Jersey, who also just got pot. You can get stoned and watch Netflix all day in New Jersey now.
Yes.
How do you like that, New Jersey? It's good times for you. North Carolina, New York, Joy, Pennsylvania, they gotcha. Vermont, West Virginia, and D.C. And 27 other states are not so lucky. They're still going to be imposing the data cap. So we're not out of the woods yet, but here's a little bit of a victory. And this is proof that when you harp on these issues and you pressure these cable companies, sometimes some good can happen. Are you a Comcast customer, Joy?
Okay. The thing I'll say in my defense.
Well, no, there's nothing to be. I mean, you don't have a choice. Like, there's nothing to be ashamed of.
That's the
yeah.
thing.
I mean, what did you?
So many areas, like it is the only option,
right? Yeah. I mean, what did you? What did you think I was going to shame you? Like, what did you?
No, I feel. See, when I went to protest the 2016 convention at Occupy DNC, there were Comcast signs everywhere, and it was then that I was like, oh my God, I feel so dirty. Like, this is bad. So ever since, I'm like, Comcast.
Oh, totally. But yeah, it's like, what choice do you have, though? I mean, yeah, it's like, I mean, what do you expect? Like, people are like, no, I lay my own fiber with like my bare, which actually we could do that, but it would take a lot of effort in cooperation. So unless you have a municipal broadband option, you have no choice but to, be a customer of the cable duopoly. And Pennsylvania also happens to be one of those states that has a lot of red tape for municipal broadband. There's a handful of states that have it. Pennsylvania is one of them. So yeah, no, I feel you. I mean, I'm a big cable customer too. We don't even have good municipal broadband in a place like Los Angeles. A couple areas are building it, like Santa Monica's getting it, Beverly Hills is getting it. But you'd think in like one of the show business capitals of the freaking world, they would have some of the best internet in the world, and they would realize that they can't get it from big cable, so they would do their own thing. They would do their own citywide thing that would be really freaking great. Because guess what? You can do that. Where's there the best internet in the country? Chattanooga, Tennessee. What do they have there? Municipal broadband. It ain't a secret, folks. It ain't a secret. When is municipal broadband better than the big cable alternative? 100% of the time. Study was released by Harvard University and the Institute of Local Self-Reliance. Proved it. You can see the speeds. You can see the prices. You can get better internet at a better price when you have municipal broadband. And the country's slowly starting to realize it. But in the meantime, we're at least fighting back. And they dropped the data cap enforcement in 12 states at least.
The worst part is the millions of kids who are being homeschooled. I've seen pictures of kids in the like Burger King parking lot using the Wi-Fi there and stuff like that. It's awful. It is absolutely awful. And not that I agree with Biden sending them all back, but that's another story. But yeah, I mean, if kids are being forced to, go to school at home, they need to have good internet provided to them, first of all, free of charge, because that's part of the reason the parents can't afford it. So then their kids go sit in a parking lot of a Burger King. That's awful. Absolutely awful. It's a hostage situation. You have to go to school. You don't have a choice. But if you can't afford the internet, you have to make do other ways.
Yeah, I mean, it's nuts. Well, and then that gets into another thing where they were trying, and this actually happened in Philadelphia. They were pleading with Comcast to like build these hotspots and like parking lots and stuff so that kids could go to school. And you just take a step back and you realize how messed up is it that we're relying on these big cable companies that are only concerned with profit. They're not concerned with decent infrastructure, or we would have better internet here. We don't have shitty internet in the United States because we don't have the technology to do it better. We have shitty internet because these cable companies are more concerned with their bottom line. So they're not going to invest in the actual infrastructure unless they have to. If they can get away with a shittier product while price gouging you, that's what they're going to do. And that's what they already do. That's exactly what they do. We pay more and get less compared to a lot of other countries. And it's because these companies literally have an organized duopoly where they stay off of each other's territory for the most part. And you're either in Comcast land or you're in AT&T land or something similar. And then they just charge you a lot for something that's not all that great. And we're relying on them to make sure our kids can learn. Like, how freaking backwards is that? These companies that are, by the way, voted some of the worst companies in the world. they're some of like the least popular companies in the world. And we're saying, yes, please, you should be in charge on whether or not our children get to learn. You should be able to have a dictatorship over that technology. That's a utility in our lives.
Absolutely. That's, oh my God, these poor kids. Like, right now we have a foot of snow on the ground. And I was thinking, what if they don't have, and it's not to the, we're in a pandemic. What are they supposed to do? Go to other people's houses to use their internet? Oh my God, that's heartbreaking. And Comcast are such douche canoes for so many reasons, but like, I was thinking about dropping our cable, you know what I mean? Because Netflix and stuff. So I called and they said it would literally be the same exact price still because of the internet. And it's a bundle and they only do bundles. And I'm like, okay, so that is so stupid. So people who are trying to save money because they're hurting monetarily, if they want to cancel their cable to try and save some dollars, oh, it's a bundle.
That's yeah. So they make it so that you can't really downgrade, but
Right.
they make it super easy. Well, not easy, but they make it so that it's so necessary for you to upgrade. Like they'll
Yeah.
sell you something that they know is insufficient. So that, and of course, we had Chase Roper on the show who blew the whistle on all this over at Comcast. So they'll intentionally sell you something that they know is insufficient, and then they'll make it really easy for you to upgrade. But if you want to downgrade, they make it difficult. They make it. They're like, oh well, it's a bundle, and so we'll throw in this landline free of charge. I mean, the landline's included. We got a Morse code machine for you. Aren't you stoked? Come on.
You
Get
can
pumped.
use one of those cool rotary telephones.
When's the last time?
Well, and also some of the companies, what they do is they say, well, you can change your plan, but it's going to cost you $200 because you signed on for a year.
Yep. Those contract specifications. Yeah, it's ridiculous. And what changes all this? What would completely eliminate all these headaches we're talking about? Municipal broadband all across the country, city-owned internet. The internet's utility. You pay it the same way you pay your water or your sewage, and you're going to get better internet at a better price. Cities that already have it, people freaking love it. They're driving these big cable companies out of town. That's why these big cable companies are trying to put a bunch of red tape in place so that people can't do that. And it's why the House GOP has a bill out there to ban municipal broadband. They're trying to get rid of it because they know it's a solution and it solves our internet needs. So we got to keep fighting for it. And it's one of the missions on this show. It's something we talk about a lot and something we fight for on this show. I presented on it for my neighborhood council. It did not go great, but I'm not giving up. We covered it on this show when it happened, but I'm not giving up. So there you go. Comcast. I like how it's not in all the states. They're like, okay, we'll drop this in some of the states that have called us on our bullshit. We're going to keep it up in the states that we think we can still get away with it, though.
Yep.
Where we think we can still get away with it, we're still going to go for it. So screw you.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your